Hello everybody, this is Lorenzo with Unicorn Ride. We are here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and not your mascot march here. You can see leading its way down the street, heading towards a football game between two NFL teams. If you get a little closer here, you can see why they're marching. You can see the not your mascot, and like striking out the in-hand logo of the Washington D.C. football team, national football team from my understanding, who is playing here today. People have organized marches. This is actually just one of two marches from my understanding that's heading to the stadium right now. And yeah, we're going to march you through it. We're going to walk you through it as they march along and kind of show you what's going on. But thank you so much for joining us. This is Lorenzo, your host right now. We have John in the back end. We're going to bring this to you live here from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Not your mascot march. Thanks again. And everybody wants to just share out the link, like it. Again, we're a non-commercial project. Only way people see us is if you share it. So thanks so much for sharing this out so people can see what's going on here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. You can see there's no honor in racism. Redskins is a racial slur. And you can see the AIM song being sung there in a truck. This is heading towards the stadium right now. We're gonna kind of show you this whole piece of it. Like, from my understanding, there's two marches. So this is just one of them. Other people here. Again, this is one of the two marches that's taking off in towards the stadium. We're going to head that way as well. Again, you're watching this live on Unicorn Riot here at your not your mascot march. This is not the first march that's happened around this issue. Kind of has been ongoing as different organizations and Native American groups have been trying to stop the use of Native slurs as branding and also Indian head logos as branding. Saying they're not, you can see a lot of the rhetoric, they're not your mascots. And if you look, sorry, I'm trying to move away to the front and I'm talking as well. So let's look at our website, unicornride.ninja. You'll see that there is a post there with a little bit more information so you can kind of see what we're talking about. This is, again, ongoing. We kind of cited a group called the Illuminatives who talks a lot about Native American people in the United States, and indigenous people abroad, really, but who just aren't really visible in everyday media. And then the space for somebody to kind of declare who they are is taken up by sort of mascots and stereotypes like this. And that's why people have organized to come out to say, indigenous Native American folks are not mascots. They're human beings with a rich multitude of cultures here in the United States. And they want people to know that they're still against this. They'll be speaking a lot to, how do I get close to one of these here? There's a bunch of information on these signs. I'm going to get a little closer. But yeah, so Dan Snyder is the, I think, GM of the team. And then also recently, I think in 2014, the team lost their trademark, saying that because the two courts ruled that it was disparaging to Native Americans. That was overturned in 2019, but the language saying that it was disparaging wasn't taken out. It was just sort of like, it sounded like some First Amendment sort of usage that they were able to sneak through. It just didn't meet the criteria. But it still hasn't stopped folks from saying they don't want this. And again, it's a Washington, and the name of the team is the Redskins. You can also look at that post. You see there's some recent media put up by indigenous people saying that that refers to the scalping of Native American people and the selling of their scalps that was offered prices on by the United States government in various prices throughout the conquest of the United States. So for the Washington D.C. team to be called the Redskins is a particular confusing thing to be happening in the United States, but it's ongoing, and we just want to bring you out here live. I'm going to go ahead and put the mic so you can listen to this march as we go forward. Again, I am Lorenzo. I'm your current host. We're going to be moving through this march for a few hours. If you do like this content, please go to our website. You can see we have a fundraiser going. Keep Unicorn Riot growing into 2020. We have big plans coming up. We're expanding our platform. We brought on more reporters. We're going to need your support to keep bringing this sort of content to you. And as you can tell, there's a wide variety of stuff. We do provide investigations, live feeds, and so on. Just on-the-ground reporting, frontline reporting, really all about it. Anyways, check that out. I think they're asking like $5 or and up. We'll give some gifts, some stuff. That's thank yous. But yeah, thanks again. Thank you so much to all our supporters and our donors. Like you really make this possible. Like the only way we can get out here and do this for you. So yeah, let's keep supporting us. We're looking to bring you some more stuff. We'll talk about it later. We're gonna be live for a while. Again, thanks so much for joining. Make sure you share the link. Not Your Mascot is the hashtag. You can see all this information on these signs. We're gonna probably read it later. And right now, marching to the NFL game here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's go walk on through. Again, if you're just joining us, we're here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, following Not Your Mascot March. We're going to be live for hopefully a few hours here. Thanks a lot for joining.
Thank you for being here. Love the press.
Yeah, so we're going to be moving through this march. We're going to be live for a while. Just want to let you know where we're at. Minneapolis, Minnesota, Not Your Mascot. We are live here on the ground. And we're heading towards the football stadium. Pretty sure. Just following along, learning as we go. But yeah, let's keep going, see if we can talk to some folks. Actually, first I'm going to move out to the front, so just give me a second here. We'll try to get some interviews again. Thanks so much for being here. Share out that link, and we'll just keep being live. Lieutenant Governor Clay Fallon. Thank you, flag again. Move to the front here. Police officer march. Police officers leading the march, and the march started saying that they had like a conversation with the police. It was led by Clyde Belcourt to sort of talk about what was going to happen here and make sure everybody was going to have like proper conduct before any of this went down. That's this march. Yeah, from my understanding, there's multiple marches. So that's kind of what's going on. Part of what's going on, what I've heard is going on. As I sit here on the ground, you can see this helicopter overhead. Helicopter. So there's folks that are slowing down right now, waiting for the whole march to come together. Hello, can we? Does anybody want to talk about what's going on here today?
Jamie?
I can say it. Let us know what's happening. Why people are here?
We're out here to just raise awareness that we are not a mascot. This is Native American community has come out to rally against the Washington team and urge them to change the name.
And there's, how many different groups of people are here?
There's several organizers here today representing different segments of the American Indian community along with tribal nations.
So yeah, it's not your mascot march. We're gonna keep trying to. Let's see if I can. So, do you want to talk about why they're here? No one's chanting. Keep trying. Do you want to talk about why you're here at all? I tried. I'm gonna get back into the march. I'll give you a little recap of where we're at. So this is the Not Your Mascot March here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Did you want to talk about why you're here at all? Anybody? All right.
Go ahead, Joe.
You want to talk about why you're here?
Yeah. Oh, Joe, what?
Hey, we're here to change the name of a racist mascot. This is the tip of the iceberg of other sports teams that need to honor people for who they are and not try to chastise, ridicule, or denigrate people. And so it's time to change the name. We're not your mascot.
Thank you. Send some statements from people in the crowd. Again, like, my experience is that I'm alone. It's hard to mark. Like, just walk up with a mic and be like, "Tell me now." But also, people are also really excited to be together, sort of like experiences together. They kind of march in with my camera, mic, and like talk to me. So we'll keep trying. But again, just bear with us. Again, this is Not Your Mascot here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We're live. You're watching this on UnicornRiot.Ninja. Thank you so much to all of our followers and donors who make this possible. And we're gonna keep staying live here. Thanks for joining us.
Change that name!
throwing his head on the side of the side. Like, oh yeah, I'll take it. Love you. Maybe some locations here. I'm just marching around, showing you different sides of the march. Again, this is Not Your Mascot March. Why you're here at all? You want to talk about why you're here at all? You're here for your granddaughter? She's for a great grandchild there. Just wait one second. Thanks for bearing with me. I'm just gonna. Does anyone want to talk about why they're here or why this is important at all? Why you're here, why this is important? Go ahead, Chief. Oh, okay. What's that? Yeah, did you want to do it?
Yeah.
Let us know what's going on.
So this is a rally to end racism through the continued use of illegitimate, disrespectful mascots of Indian people. The Redskins name is a terrible name. It means the scalp of a native person, and to continue to use that name is a very, very disrespectful to Indian people, American Indian people. We're gathered here to raise awareness and let folks know that we're not going to stand for this anymore. It's time to change this mascot name now.
Thanks so much. This is somebody in the march letting us know why they're here, what's going on. Again, thanks for joining us. We keep trying to kind of like grab some interviews, but also just give you a sense of what the march is like. And so I'll be quiet now for a little bit and just show you the Not Your Mascot March here for a second, and then we'll go back and try to get some more interviews. Thanks again for joining us. This is Unicorn Ride. Anybody want to talk about why they're here? Let's know.
I'm just here to educate people who don't understand why the Redskin name is very racist and hurtful to the Native American people.
Thank you. Anybody else want to talk about why they're here? Oh yeah, coming down.
What do you want to ask me, Unicorn Riot?
Why are you holding this big banner?
Because I'm adamantly opposed to Native American mascots in sports. It shouldn't be allowed. It's so childish and immature. Grow up.
Okay. Anything else you want to add to that? That's very succinct.
Thank you, Unicorn Riot. You were in Standing Rock. You guys do some great work. I love you guys.
Thank you for talking to us. Thanks. All right, so I said, I was asked why they're holding the sign. Really, they're here for Not Your Mascot. They want to make sure that there's space for Native American people in the United States to declare who they are. Right now, we're living in this moment where you're hearing about Indigenous Peoples Day as the narrative of the country is being, brought to like what actually probably happened. The colonization of the country and renaming of things and that process. Anyways, Native folks still here. They've been here for a very, very long time, and they'd like to probably tell you about themselves. And would really appreciate if you stop trying to eliminate their ability to do that by replacing their identities with Indian mascots and logos and racist slurs. So, again, I'm Lorenzo, your host. That's my take on it. Yeah. And also, just so you know, that's the person who's hosting this. I have a lot of experience with Indian head logo campaigns. I'm trying to get rid of them. I come from a university that used to use the logo. A lot of really, I guess the most standing out event I'll tell you about the people trying to change that, the people trying to keep it, was on the yearly powwow day, on the grand entry. People who wanted to keep the Indian head logo did not go to the powwow. They went to a protest in a park to talk about how they should be able to use the Indian head logo, and they said it was supportive. So anyways, that happened one time. I was there. Again, that logo was changed. The team got a new name, and it still just plays the same. And now everyone just calls it that, except for the diehard people who kept the jerseys and hand them down and sell them for more prices. You know how it goes. But anyways, University of North Dakota. That's what I'm talking about. My name is Lorenzo Serna. I am totally your host. And they used to have an head logo. It did change. University is still playing all the sports. So anyways, that's background, and then we're here in Minneapolis for the ongoing sort of Not Your Mascot movement, I'd say, at least trying to change all these names. Again, these aren't just localized to National Football League names. There's also Major League Baseball teams that are using Native American imagery for their branding. And so it's also high schools, colleges, just really folks just trying to get that to be changed to allow space for people to sort of declare who they actually are in a world that seems to want to declare that Native folks are things that are, that's it, And, I can go on and on about this. I'm not gonna. But again, so we want to follow these folks into this march. Let you know people are trying to get this name changed. Some of the reasons why. I'm just trying to bring you some voices of who's here in the march and why they're here. That's basically it. That's my passion as a journalist. Just so you can hear what people actually think on the ground. All right, we're gonna keep going. Saying what do we want, change the name, when do we want it now? move back to the front here a second. I'll put the mic away a moment. We'll be right back. As I keep moving you through this march. Again, this is Unicorn Riot. I am Lorenzo, your host. If you do like this sort of content, please check out our current fundraiser. Keep Unicorn Riot growing in 2020. We're bringing on some new folks. We're going to bring in some more coverage from all over. And so we're going to need your support to do that. And then again, thanks to all of our donors who already donate. Go ahead and go check out that fundraiser. And yeah, we're going to stay here. Also, thanks to our patrons. You can sign up on Patreon as well. So there's a whole bunch of ways to support us. Let's take a look. Unicorn Riot, Ninja. Why you're here and all that? Is that cool if I interview you?
Sure.
Let's let us know, like, your name, why you're here, what's going on.
For sure. My name is Peggy Flanagan, and I am a member of the White Earth Nation, and I'm Lieutenant Governor of the state of Minnesota. And I'm here because I'm a leader of Minnesota, but more importantly, I'm here because I'm a mom of a little Anishinaabe Kwe. And it is completely ridiculous that we still have to fight this fight. It is time to change this racist mascot. And, you know, frankly, just to stop degrading our people. We're contemporary people. We're not mascots, and I'm here to stand with our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, who's here in this march. Let's try to. All right. Cool. All right, so we're getting to the front. We get to the front. Let's get out and meet the people who love the sports. Okay, right now this is the Vikings hometown, so you can see. So we're going. There's the Giant Stadium, and so yeah. All right, here we are. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, Unicorn Riot Ninja. We're gonna get you to the front of this march before we head wherever we're heading. I'm not exactly sure where it's going. And again, there's another march coming, so this is just one of them. If you're just joining, we are live here in Minneapolis, Minnesota for a Not Your Mascot march. You heard we've interviewed quite a few people now. Let's get little statements of why they're out here. People saying they're here for their grandkids. They're saying that the name is just racist. They want it gone. We did talk about a little bit about how these sort of mascots and stuff do replace the ability for people to identify themselves as with these assumptions of and stereotypes. People arguing that they would like those to be gone. mostly right now is we're living in this moment where Indigenous people are definitely rising up. You can listen to Indigenous Peoples Day going on across the country. That is called organizing. We haven't figured that out. To let people know Indigenous people are still here, and Indigenous knowledge is still here, and calling out, letting folks know they're trying to speak, you know. But anyways, thanks for joining us. I'm Lorenzo, your host. We're going to keep live. Again, we're right in front of the stadium here. I'm going to move back so we can get the march that goes past the stadium. Just give us one moment. We're here now. That was the march. Now I think they're going to rally here for a little bit and have some speakers. I'm going to we're going to stay live for a bit and bring them to you. Again, I just wanted to remind everybody this is a non-commercial, not-for-profit. You've noticed there's no advertisements, no paywalls. The only way we make that possible, though, is with your support. So please go ahead and go to our website, unicornriot.ninja. You'll see Keep Unicorn Riot growing in 2020 in there. If you click on that, you'll see we have like a donor drive. We're looking to try to get 2,000 donors at about $5 a month. We can do that. We're going to be able to expand our coverage to basically bring you live content from all over the world, as we have been doing already. And sort of like, be able to get more support to our people who are out there in the field to bring this to you live. So, yeah, go ahead and check that out, unicornriot.ninja. I also assume it's like on Twitter, on Periscope. You can see that link. We're asking you to give whatever you want. I know people have signed up for a higher amount than $5. Again, all of it goes to bringing you this coverage, making sure that we're bringing you this crystal clear experience. Again, this is not your mascots in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We've been live all over the world, and we're going to keep bringing this to you. This sort of like non-commercial platform. Just kind of bringing these stories from the ground, the voices from the ground, the people who are actually out here trying to create some sort of change in the systems around them. So again, just wanted to thank everybody who's joining us, and a really big thank you to all of our donors who've given so far. Who've made this possible to be here today. I'm going to switch to the other side, and we're going to stay here live. Again, thanks, John, who's running the back end there. Again, I'm Lorenzo, your host. You're watching this on Unicorn Riot. Thank you to everyone on YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, Facebook, and Livestream. I think we're still rocking with that one. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to get closer here in a second. Let's going to get to the other side, get the sun behind my back, get you a few shots, and then we'll get in there. Again, thanks for joining us. Okay, how you doing?
Are you live, or?
Yeah, we're live. I don't know. Let's. All right. All right. So there's a rally. You want to talk about why you're here at all? Did you want to talk about why you're here at all? Just let us know. What brings you out here today?
Hey, Boshum, Bejoins and Dijini Kazwa Bajashin Dodem. Basaga Swajimi Kagan Dojaba Miniwaga Kabi Kangan Dieta Nungum. I'm a mother and a grandmother, and a daughter, niece, auntie, and 1991, during the World Series playoffs, my son and I were watching the Twins to see if they were going to win and play, and watching the Braves and see if they were going to win and play, really wanting to know who was going to come play the Twins if we won. So while we're watching the game, my son was about, I want to say 8 years old, 9 years old, and we watched him doing the tomahawk chop, and we watched him going woo 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 woo, and that whole dun 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 crap, you know. And my son said, "Mom, how come they're doing that? How come they're making fun of us?" I said, "I don't know, son. You know, I don't know why people do that." And he said, "Well, we're not allowed to make fun of people." He said, "How can they make fun of us? We don't do that. We don't act like that." And we had just got through protesting Walt Disney Peter Pan on Ice at the Met Center back then. And the whole thing was about the portrayal of our people and misrepresentation, and to the kids, it's making fun of us. He said, "Mom, if they come here and they play us against our team, are we going to let them do that to us? Are we going to protest like we did before?" I said, "You know what, son? Yeah, we'll do something." So I went to an event, and I seen my uncles there, Clyde and Vernon. They're talking about, "Oh yeah, who's going to come play in the World Series? Are they going to be here, and who's going to play them?" And they said, "Yeah, what about the Braves? It looks like they're winning." I said, you know what my son said about, you know what Jake said?" And Vernon said, "What did nephew say?" He said, Are we going to let them make fun of us like that? Aren't we going to do something? And Vernon's fork dropped. It dropped, clang right on the table. He looked at me, he said, my girl, he said, you organize something and we'll do it. So I said, okay. So I went back and I started calling, writing down. Back then we had fax numbers, and I had to call radio stations and phone books and look up fax numbers and created a press release and put out flyers, drove them around and put them up myself on buildings, you know, and that was the first protest against the mascot issue here in the Twin Cities, and kind of picked up nationally and internationally. And I'm just like so thankful that so many people, and like how many names have changed, team names in Minnesota alone have they changed. And I worked with some girls a couple years ago from Sisseton, and they're trying to change the name out there, where their homecoming dance, the homecoming dance, they have a fake medicine man go out there in the center, and he has a vision. Yeah, in this day and age. So I'm here because it hasn't stopped. But it started with my son, and when our children say, like Uncle said, when our children say, when are you going to do something? We should do something. That's why I'm here.
Thank you. Let's speak to some folks in the march. So we can get a cool talk here. You want to talk about why you're here at all? No, you're good? Okay. Let's make it sure.
Why are you here?
Why you're here?
Tell it. You do it?
I'm not your mascot.
What was that?
I'm not your mascot.
Thank you. Not your mascot. Again, that's the event. You can see here is the U.S. Bank Stadium where the football game is supposed to take place. Oh yeah. Are you the drum group or?
Right there, he's Crow. Yeah, you want to talk to him?
Yeah, you want to talk about why the drum group? Is that your drum group at all? Or?
Yeah. The drum group, these kind of drums right here are called war trophies. They were taken from the U.S. Cavalry a long time ago. So into modern times, we still use these kind. We also sing on traditional drums and hand drums. And the drum represents the heartbeat of Mother Earth. The skin of the hide comes from the animals from the earth. The shell's made out of wood that comes from the trees of Mother Earth. So that drum represents the heartbeat of Mother Earth. And in every culture you look back, whether it be our Aztec brothers, African brothers and sisters, natives, even our Caucasian brothers and sisters, they always had a drum. And it always was the center of ceremony to us as Native people, and I'm pretty sure to other people. So we always use the drum. I'm 47, man. I used to march right downtown to City Hall and to the mayor's office from Little Earth United Tribes since I was a little boy. You know, this is the home of American Indian movement, and when we do things, we always do it with the drum and our elders in the ceremony.
Thank you. What was the name of your drum group? Is there a name or?
This drum group here, we're just, it's not really a drum group name, we're just a bunch of singers from the community.
All right. Thank you so much. So that's a little history about drums, drum groups, here. They actually were playing in a vehicle on the way here in a truck. The American Indian Movement song. And now we're here, and they're probably going to start with the song as well. Again, a lot of indigenous movements and actions start with prayer and then ceremony. Most of there actually are start with prayer and ceremony. And and so that's what we're seeing here. We didn't start live with the prayer. Usually we don't. You shouldn't. We don't film prayers. Shouldn't film prayers. So we kind of wait till after that happened, and now we're here. We came along with the march, went across here, U.S. Bank Stadium, and now we're kind of waiting for this rally to start.
That's right.
I think there's going to be a bunch of speakers. Oh, sorry.
Hold on. I want to get that old.
A lot of seating. I'm just walking around here a second.
Oh yeah.
just joined us here after a march, not your mascot march. Now there's going to be a rally here right out front of the stadium where the football game is going to be taking place between the Minnesota Vikings, local Minnesota Vikings fame, and local Minnesota Vikings fan, against the Washington team. They go by the Redskins, which is an offensive slur, referencing basically scalping and the bounties on Native American scalps in the United States. They were put in place by different federal government and state governments and municipal governments. Part of United States history. And it just kind of harkens back there. It's just a way of, nothing like having to explain that over. Anyway, so again, this is Lorenzo. We're here live. We're going to keep it live for a little bit. Again, from my understanding, there's a lot of speakers. I don't know if we're going to be able to stay live through the whole thing. If you do want us to do this, keep letting me know. Keep tweeting at us, sharing the link. And,
you come up here, please.
And, I can stay out here. We can listen to all the speakers. It's going to be a bunch. Get comfortable. I did think about going somewhere else at around 7 for a different event. But I'm not really sure if I will accomplish that based on just how long this will take. So regardless, this is a Not Your Mascot March here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm Lorenzo, your host. And we got John in the back end running the back end there. Thanks a lot for that. Thanks to all our viewers and followers. Make sure you do hit that like and follow button, please. If you want to get alerted to us, you can hit that little alert alarm there on YouTube as well. We are a non-commercial endeavor. We don't spend any money on advertisement. The only way people know we exist is if you share these links, like these links, and so on and so forth. So thanks so much for everyone who has done that. And we're going to get back in here. We are here live. You're watching this on UnicornRiot.Ninja. Not Your Mascot March and Rally.
driving the truck that had the drum. You need something out of the truck. Some of the belongings.
Henry Boucher. Henry Boucher. Mike, you were driving the truck? Speakers to the stage, please. Mayor Fry. Congresswoman Betty McCollum.
All right, everybody, just joining us. So we're here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, outside of the U.S. Bank Stadium, where it's Vikings game day. Look at that, boom! I was letting you know. They're playing the Washington Redskins. Again, people want that name to be changed, along with the Indian head logo. We came out here to bring this to you live. I'm going to kind of step out and give you an idea. Like right now, from my understanding, this is going to be a rally with a bunch of different speakers talking to why they want to get rid of this name, get rid of the Indian logos, and so on and so forth. Again, I'm Lorenzo, your host. I just want to kind of update people where we're at. Anybody that's joined, thanks so much for joining us. Let's get started. Move up close, and yeah, we'll just take a listen.
Anishinaabe, Yawaba Uganakan, Ogechida, Economic Development. I introduced myself. I'm Southern man. He walks with bears. I'm from the White Earth Reservation, Bear Clan. My given name, English name is David Glass. I'm the president of the National Coalition Against Racism in Sports and Media. We're here again as Washington comes to play the Minnesota Vikings to protest that R word, that name that they have. It's time for it to go. I want to recognize just a few people and groups that have helped us get here today and have supported us along the way. First, I'd like to mention the law enforcement, Minneapolis Police, the Minneapolis Park Board, the Minneapolis Park Board Police, Metro Transit. All of law enforcement has worked closely with us over the past decade, especially in the 2014 rally and today's rally. The support that they've provided for us has been beyond anything that we could have expected. We appreciate the work that they've done with us, and we're also grateful for the work that they do on a daily basis. Thank you to law enforcement. A good friend of mine, Minneapolis officer Henry Halverson, will be up a little bit later to say a few words. I'd like to also recognize the Shakopee, Metawakanton, and the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe, who've been instrumental in helping to provide for this rally to happen. They were instrumental in 2014 and continue to be there, standing with us even as we stand here today, right, Keith? Thank you, Miigwech. Another drum up, bring it up. Thank you for all of the support that that showed up today. We'll still have folks arriving by light rail and by bus as we go throughout the evening here with our speakers, and we have a little entertainment for you planned halfway through the speaker list, and I think you'll find it very entertaining, also educational. Lastly, let me recognize my board, and if they are here, wave your hands or stand. Tyrone Terrell, Spike Moss, Lisa Bellinger, Janice Erickson, Henry Boucher, Frank Perro, Clyde Belcourt. Who am I missing? Joey Browner, Jack Swanson. Jack's doing college, law school in Michigan, but he's been instrumental in continuing to work with us. R.C. Hart. Also, let me thank White Earth Urban Office for lending space to us for the past 4 months, and for the food and feast that they had with us yesterday. We're going to start this evening with a traditional prayer and blessing from my good friend Jerry Dearly. As we say this prayer, remember your loved ones, your family, as we pray along with Jerry.
So I'm moving away because they're going to have a prayer. I don't want to film it. As long as we move over here, we'll show you the stadium, and then we'll move back in.
Please keep all those three folks in those prayers. Jerry is an Abuela Lakota, respected elder, spiritual leader, and pipe carrier. He served
Let me move to the stadium for a second.
Educator and mentor throughout the United States, and is known for his knowledge concerning the language and culture of not only his Lakota people, but for also many other.
All right, everybody, I'm going to move back towards the stadium for a moment while they're doing their prayer. You can see the Biffs lined up. Again, we're at not your mascot protest, but they're going to do a slip prayer, so I'm going to move away, and we'll come back in. Just give me a second here. One second.
To be with him.
All right. So bear with me. Let's see if Rory wants to talk.
All right.
I do, yeah. Oh, they're doing the prayer. I gotta walk away. You know, I gotta get away. I gotta get away from prayer. It's the worst. It's backwards. I know it's backwards, but I guess I'm live, so I gotta do it. Anyway, see me a second. I'm gonna bring you to the stadium here, and then we'll move back. We'll listen to some of the speakers again. This is not your mascot. It's like not good behavior, conduct to film prayers, and so I'm just gonna go ahead and move away. You can see all the people showing up for the National Football League. Boom, look at that. They're all waiting in line, getting ready to go in and watch their team, which I assume is Minnesota, because they're wearing purple, as we all know. And this stadium is pretty big. U.S. Bank Stadium. So if you weren't watching, the march came down this road and then came into this park. They do a rally now with, I understand, a few speakers, like quite a few speakers. You can see the lieutenant governors here. A lot of chairmen from different bands, tribal bands are here. Different indigenous folks here, and they're going to be speaking, let you know why this march happened and why there's a Not Your Mascot rally and march here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, around this particular game. And so I'm going to move back now, I think. Again, if you're just joining us, this is UnicornRiot.Ninja is the website. UnicornRiot at @UR_Ninja on Twitter. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Patreon, Livestream, YouTube. Name a few. Right now, we are looking at a stadium. Again, I'm just trying to wait for this prayer to be over, and then I'm going to head back there. And we'll get back into those speakers. So this is UnicornRiot.Ninja. You can see a little more information on our website about what's been going on here. And yeah, we're just going to keep waiting. I apologize for this shot of, unless you're really interested in what the stadium looks like, there it is. U.S. Bank Stadium. Rory, you want to talk about what's going on now? No? All right. Yeah, we're just waiting.
Wait. Well, I mean, what do you... Are you live?
I am live.
Right now?
Yeah, but they're praying, so I can't be over there.
Oh.
So I gotta be over here. It's okay. I mean, it's all good. I'm just trying to get an interview of this. Right now, I'm showing everyone the stadium. What do you know about this stadium? You know anything about the stadium?
Well, you know what? I'll give my breakdown of that. Here's what I know. Everyone has their little bit of different history. So, it used to be the Braves was a baseball team and a football team in 1930, let's say, somewhere around there, early century. And then it split. The owner sold it to the football owner, and so the original owner was I know, right, when there's a ceremony song going on. Anyway, that was at the time when, the KKK was marching in Washington and whatnot, and they were trying to be public about taking power, and, the KKK was real open about it. And so that guy was part of that movement in the KKK. And he deliberately changed the name from Braves to Redskins because it is racist. And it is the most derogatory term you can use for natives. That's why he chose it. It's deliberate. So, and you go behind, and then you get into the history of why he chose the name. It's because there were Redskin shops or Redskin bounties, where they had to collect the nape of the head to prove it was one person, so they weren't splitting scalps, because gathering the whole head or the body proved to be too much space. It was taking up too much space.
Do you know how common was like the bounties? Was that?
Oh, the largest one ever paid was here in Minnesota, $250, and back in the 18-whatevers, that, you know, early 1800s, like 100 years before the name roughly, was probably about the time that was paid. Man, my history from college is 10, 20 years old now. Yes, and I believe that one was like they needed the whole head for proof of identity. So it wasn't just a scalp. It was like $2 to $5 a scalp, which was a lot of money back then. Like, so, and then that's how also where like Rangers comes from. Like Rangers and volunteers, we're volunteer and ranger killers, hunting Indian killers, Indian hunters, and it all stems from as soon as, you know, in history, the first settlers here were really like aristocrats, landlords. So they came in with their rangers and whatnot, scorching and burning, scorched earth campaign to burn out. And then so when other settlers came in, they were landlords again here, and those folks were indebted to them, throwing the original settlers in front of the lines where natives would retaliate, causing dissension, causing divide and conquer. You know, because settlers didn't want to come over here and kill folks in battle, and natives didn't want to kill people either. But you know, the landlords instigated, started this whole fight. It's been this whole scorched earth campaign since.
Who was paying out the bounties? Like
United States government, I think, paid the most. But yeah, aristocrats, private landowners. You know, if you wanted to own land or move up the chain of command in their colonized system, you know, you brought in. If you didn't have money and couldn't farm yet, you brought in Redskins. I mean,
well, thanks.
You're welcome. That's my knowledge of it. I'm pretty sure it's close to.
I believe you.
Close to 100% accurate. Might be some things off. It's been a long time since undergrad. But
that's more information I know. So we were saying that the bounty was the same amount as buying a plot of land during that time.
No, but you could wipe out a couple families and then have a plot. So basically, how much ever land it took. You know, it was kind of tit for tat. How in my eyes, anyway. Now that you mention it, it does kind of seem like the amount of scalps you needed for money for land or for whatever you wanted to do was kind of equivalent. It was like it was a good wage, you know. Like it wasn't. It was, you know, it was definitely lucrative, more than beaver pelts and buffalo hides, you know.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, and I don't know how rampant it was or how, but you know, it had its hot spots.
Yeah.
And then in Colorado it was worse. Like they literally like wore native genitalia and parts on them and marched them around, like the military, the government.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it was sanctioned. They just kind of turned it, you know. But yeah. So Redskins is.
Thank you. You think I can go back there now?
And then the history of this, you look up like Charlene Teeters, her grad project. It started because she was at in Illinois, the Fighting Illini. I forget what school that is, but she did her grad. She went to a basketball game with her kids. She got free tickets when she was in grad school, and then saw this Chief Illinois jumping around like quote unquote a trained monkey that knows gymnastics. Like, and she was embarrassed. They sunk in their chairs, and then so she started at grad school, and then I think she met like Clyde Belcourt, who's out there speaking. Who actually just did the opening prayer, and then they've been doing it ever since. I think it's 30 years now. Or 50? I mean, a long time. I mean, they were kids when they started this.
I'm gonna head back over there and check it out. So thanks for having me. That's Rory.
Well, I can help out.
Yeah. Where you guys want to go?
And I'm so happy, so glad that these singers can sing these songs. But to learn many of these songs that are.
Oh, jeez. Hold on one second.
And I want them to sing a song that they choose to begin everything. And I'd like these dancers to kind of conglomerate closer now as we go to Midnight Express. Horse stars, gentlemen. The American Indian Movement, the song, the freedom song of the American Indian Movement. 1973, ladies and gentlemen.
How you doing?
Good. Did you get some good stuff?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, okay.
Not as big as last time, huh?
There's supposed to be more people coming.
Yeah, there's another.
March, yeah.
Yeah.
Aho! 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 Aho!
Midnight Express, Miigwech, Kanamiya. We're going to get started here with our speakers. Before I do that, I want to say one last thank you, and I want to thank my wife, Pamela. I do a lot of work in Indian country with volunteering and serving on boards, and I'm gone a lot, and my wife is good with it, so I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I appreciate the fact that she is good with me being on doing the work that I do. I love you. Okay, we are honored to have Representative Coney Spodin with us here tonight. We'll be sharing the duties of being the MC. We're going to start out tonight by inviting Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan. Peggy and I have known each other for a long time. She's a sister of mine from White Earth, and she's our newly elected Lieutenant Governor. She's the highest ranking Native woman ever elected to an executive office in the United States. As I said, member of the White Earth Band of Ojibwe. She is also one of only 2 Native women ever elected to an executive office in this country. Please welcome Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan.
Miigwech, David, so much for your work
Buju, Peggy Flanagan, Indigenous Kaz, Guabaga, Ganikag, Nandunjaba, Mangan, and Dodame. My name is Peggy Flanagan. I'm a proud citizen of White Earth, and my family is the Wolf Clan, and I'm really honored and humbled to be here with all of you today. You know, I'm here as the Lieutenant Governor, as a leader in Minnesota, because it is important that we stand up against racism wherever we find it. But most importantly, I am here as the mother of a 6-year-old, or 6.5, that's very important to her, a 6.5-year-old little Ojibwe girl. And we were recently watching television before we were going out the door to school in the morning, which for those of you who have little ones, you know that's an adventure every single day. And we were going out the door to school in the morning, and she saw on the television the Washington football team. And she said, "Mommy, that's not right. We're not animals. We're people. We're not mascots." And that is from the mouth of a 6.5-year-old girl. And I've had a lot of folks ask me, what would you tell Dan Snyder, the owner of the Washington football team, if you had the chance to speak with him? And let me tell you, I wouldn't talk to Dan Snyder. I would make him talk to my 6.5-year-old little girl, who would tell him how inappropriate and racist it is to have this Washington team name. Because what he is doing, this racism, this racial slur that he profits off of, is not right. When we talk about this team name, it's not simply, oh, it's just a mascot, get over it. This mascot dehumanizes our people. And when you take humanity away from our people, you don't have to pass policies that are supportive of our people and communities. You don't have to invest in our communities. You can roll right over our communities as big corporations. And so that is why this matters. You have to see us. You have to value us. And you have to respect our people. And so I am moved that all of us are here and we're gathered today. This is our chance and our opportunity to say, we are not mascots. We are here, we have always been here, and we will always be here. I can't tell you how grateful I am to Jerry Dearly for getting us started in a good way, for David Glass and the work of so many people to bring us here. This is a journey, and it is decades of work. 27 years ago, Senator Paul Wellstone walked with the American Indian movement and stood up against this racist mascot. 27 years later, we are continuing the fight. But what has changed is we are now all over the place in leadership, in government, in nonprofits, in philanthropy. We are everywhere, and we're not going anywhere. We're going to use our voice. We are going to continue to stand up, and I am ready to work shoulder to shoulder with you to stand up to this racism, but more importantly, to move forward for our people. Chimigwech, thank you so much.
Before we move on to our next speaker, Mayor Fry, let me just, the Aztec dancers, Mexique dancers, Susanna De Leon. Susanna? She's gone? We want to thank you for coming out again, joining us, to be with us, to celebrate with us, to support us. She has some kids at home that she has to run to, and she has some young ones here that need to be back home, but we appreciate you being here tonight. You want to say a quick word?
Thank you, and with the permission of all your hearts and our elders here, It is an honor always to come together and to express our innermost feelings about this type of treatment that we are receiving. And it's been hundreds of years, and yet we survive, and yet we endure. And we're coming back. Every day there are more dancers. Every day there are more prayers. And every day more tobacco is being given. So we are here, and we will endure, and we'll be here far many years after these racist people are dead. So, miigwech.
Miigwech. Miigwech. Oh, wow. I'd like to introduce Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry. Since his election as mayor in 2017, Mayor Fry has championed an agenda centered on increasing access to affordable housing throughout the city, strengthening community police relations, and fueling economic growth through inclusive policies. He has worked diligently with the Native American community to address Indian homelessness in the city, and we're forever appreciative of that. Miigwech, please welcome Mayor Fry. Bring it up here, really close.
Can we first have another huge round of applause to our highest ranking Native leader in the country, Peggy Flanagan. As mayor of Minneapolis, I was tasked with welcoming all of you to our city. But that seemed a bit inappropriate, as we are all standing on Native land right now. And so rather welcoming all of you to your land, I thought it was more appropriate to thank you for welcoming me. I don't know if I've told you this story before, but I grew up just outside of Washington, D.C. in Northern Virginia. And when I was a little kid, we definitely rooted for that Washington football team. And I remember around playoff time, on at least one occasion after the Pledge of Allegiance was recited, we would all put our hands behind our backs, and then over the loudspeaker would come the song, "Hail to the Redskins." And I sang along with it. And it took me at least until middle school before I realized how horribly racist that name was. Till I realized the historic trauma that was associated with it, and the death and the racism. And I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other little kids running around that are also not recognizing that immediately. And so it highlights the need for the change. And over the last year and a half, 2 years now, I have gotten to know our Native community in Minneapolis and in some cases throughout the state. And what I've found is they are strong. They are resilient. I've gotten to know their stories, and their stories cannot be reduced to a mascot. And so there is power in language, and there is power in the words that we choose. And collectively, we all have the power to call out instances where we all have fallen short. And so I want to thank all of you for doing exactly that, by showing up, by sharing your stories, and by demanding meaningful change. Thank you. Miigwech. And now I'd like to introduce an incredible steward and protector of our land and our water and our environment. Please join me in welcoming Congresswoman Betty McCollum.
Greetings, everyone. I'm State Representative Mary Kunish-Podine. I'm so proud to be here and be co-emceeing this event with all of you and with my fellow here. I am a descendant of a long line of strong folks from Standing Rock Reservation. 3 years ago, I was elected to the House, and I can tell you that we have worked hard to educate the people in the legislature, in the Senate, and in the state of Minnesota. I'm so pleased to remind everybody that this was the year that we passed legislation to create a task force to study the missing and murdered Indigenous women in Minnesota. We're able to make some adjustments to jurisdictional issues in Indian country, and we're able to ensure that our 4 BIE schools are getting equal funding with all the other kids in Minnesota. That's what representation looks like. We will be waiting for Congresswoman Betty McCollum. I don't know that she's arrived yet, but in the meantime, Deputy Police Chief Henry Halverson.
Could you ask for 3 or 4 security with red to meet over here?
Okay, I've been requested to ask for a couple of our red shirt security folks to meet over by the dancers, please. 3 security folks to go over there. The Aztec dancers, please. So, great. I'm looking for Minneapolis Deputy Police Chief Henry Halverson. Police Chief Halverson has been a member of the Minneapolis Police Department since 1992. He is the first American Indian man to hold the rank of Deputy Chief. That's pretty incredible, everybody. And nationally he has been a leader with the Native American Law Enforcement Summit, and we welcome Deputy Police Chief Henry Halverson.
Aneen, I just want to welcome everybody here to downtown Minneapolis and to this beautiful park today. So I'm here on behalf of the Minneapolis Police Department and behalf of Chief Arredondo, who would be here, but unfortunately he's out of town, could not make it. We're here as the Minneapolis Police Department to ensure that you're able to exercise your right to assemble, your right to free speech, and your right to protest. We're also present to ensure your safety in exercising those rights. I'd like to thank the National Coalition Against Racism in Sports and Media, and President David Glass, who I've known for a while, working on executive board of the Anda Young Center over in St. Paul. I'd like to thank him and his group for collaborating with the Minneapolis Police Department to ensure that we focus on public safety and ensure that you guys are able to freely go about and express your rights in your ability to protest and First Amendment rights. So they've been great partners. They've really been very easy to communicate. They've welcomed us with open arms and really assisted us in collaboration and partnership in making sure that we have a safe environment and safe event for you. So again, welcome. Again, we got officers around here, all over around the park here, here to ensure that we will protect your safety. And if you need anything, feel free to go up and talk to any of them, and they can assist you with whatever you need. So, Shima Guch.
Thank you, Deputy Police Chief Henry Halverson. Next, we have my Congresswoman, and yours too, Congresswoman Betty McCollum. Congresswoman Betty McCollum has represented the 4th District, my district, of Minnesota since 2000. She is a long supporter of the Native American community. She has served as co-chair of the Bipartisan Congressional Native American Caucus and is the chair of the Interior Environment Appropriations Subcommittee. Welcome, Congresswoman. Thank you.
Well, is it time to change the name? Yes. Is it time to change the mascot? Yes. Yesterday I went on the House floor of the United States of Representatives, and I called on the NFL to change this mascot. We need to get all the owners involved to put pressure on Dan Snyder. We need to tell the NFL not to make these profits off of a racial slur. And just before I gave my speech, I was back in the room with a couple of women, and they were talking to me about what I was going to speak on. They weren't members of Congress. They work in the Capitol. And I told them that I was going to talk about the Washington football team coming to Minnesota. And she said, "Are you going to say that you want Minnesota to win?" And I said, "No, I want them to change the name." And they were kind of like, "Well, why?" And so I explained to them that even in our state, even in Minnesota, at one time, $250 for a bounty for a Redskin. And that's wrong. And we have to speak up and speak out. And that's what we're doing here today. I am so proud to stand with tribal leaders and people from the community and law enforcement here too. Enough is enough. Racial slurs have to stop, and we're gonna make that happen working together. The NFL has to change the name.
Representative McCollum, thank you. Miigwech, I know she just got off a plane and rushed over here. We're very appreciative, Miigwech. Our next invited speaker is the Vice Chairman of the Shakopee Metawakan Sioux community. Keith has long advocated for his tribe in Indian country both locally and federally. He also currently serves as the co-chair of the Native Farm Bill Coalition. Might I just add to this piece of introduction that a lot of folks aren't aware of the kind of work that Shakopee provides for not only Indian country, but for non-Indian country, nonprofits throughout Minnesota and throughout the region. They don't always bang their drum when they do all these good things, but it's the amount of work and good deeds and money that they provide for charitable organizations is huge in Indian country. Please welcome Vice Chair Keith Anderson.
Thank you very much, David. Boy, what an honor. I really am humbled by being up here on stage with all of the great makers and movers and people of change. Mr. Dearly, longtime Wachipi MC, Betty, longtime friend in Congress, Secretary Treasurer Becca Crook Stratton, our Chairman Charlie Vake over here. And David's right. You know, we are very philanthropic, and I like to say that I'm up here because of the people of the Shakopee Medewakantua Dakota Huyate. They've given me this honor, and I don't take it lightly at all. And I see some of you members out there. I'd like to recognize you. You are the ones that provide for those donations, and you're the ones that allow us to do the things that we do. So by your will, thank you for allowing me to be up here to represent you. I know I'm not up here to preach what we've already talked about, but as Native people, we continue to fight, and we fight in my lifetime for decades, we fought to try to educate people in the government, in the world, that this isn't special rights, this isn't given to you rights, this is inherent rights. The inherent rights of Indian people to govern and to do and live and display our culture as we see fit. The Washington team's name represents a continuous lack of respect and dignity, and I understand. I was thinking today that a team has to have a name that represents strength and courage and whatever a Viking, Jaguar, whatever these team names have to have. But I got to think, well, what does that represent? The Redskins. We can think about all the definitions in history, but here's what it means to me. It means that the fighting strength and survival of a people who were overwhelmed against all odds, wiped out disease, shot, broken deals, attempted genocide, you name it, you know all of the things that we've gone through to continue to be here and to continue to survive. A culture erased and glorified through misrepresentation is what you got here. And Peggy's right. She has to tell her daughter that the representation of this team name is supposed to be something that is glorified in Hollywood and misrepresented throughout the country and in history and in all our teachings. We deserve better, and we do this so our children may live. And that's all I have to say. Wopada. Damia.
Idamia. Miigwech. Our next speaker is President Shelley Buck from the Prairie Island Sioux community. Shelley?
Thank you. Hamatakayapi, Dakota Ia, Patewa Chodia Michiapie, English Ia, Shelley Buck Michiapie, Damakota, Tintuita Hamataha. Hello everyone, my name is Shelley Buck and I'm the president of the Prairie Island Indian community, and I'm so honored to be able to be up here. I wasn't scheduled to be up here, so thank you to all of you for letting me sneak in. I do have to scat because I am Dakota, but I'm also a student, so I've got to get to class. But it's really time to change the name. It's time to stop all of the stereotypical efforts against us. I always wondered, people ask why. Y'all know what the term Redskins means and where it comes from. And every time I hear that, it breaks my heart to know that my ancestors were hunted for who they were, hunted because of something they had no control over and something they were very proud of. I also wondered, why hasn't it happened yet? When my kids ask me, what am I going to tell them? And it didn't become really clear until the playoff game between the Atlanta Braves and the St. Louis Cardinals. When the Cardinals won, one of the, I think it was a news station or a newspaper out in San Francisco had Braves scalped. That's what it's come to. When this stuff is able to continue going, they're perpetuating the stereotype. They're perpetuating either the one where we don't exist anymore and we're simply on a page in a history book, or they're perpetuating the stereotype that we wear buckskin, loincloth, and feathers in our hair all the time. We're more than that. We're doctors, we're teachers, we're lawyers, we're moms, we're presidents of sovereign nations, we're lieutenant governors of the wonderful state of Minnesota, we're congresswomen, congressmen, we're all of these things and more. We're students. I see a lot of young kids out here. So please help us change the name. It's going to take more than just us. We need our non-native friends and family to help us. And if we all come together to change this, it can be done. Padama Yayepi.
Thank you. Beautiful. You know, before I introduce the next person, when I'm not at the state legislature, I'm a teacher. I'm a library media specialist at a middle school. And today there are a bunch of people wearing Vikings jerseys and shirts, getting really excited for the game. And one of my coworkers said to me, are you going to the game tonight? And I said, well, I'm sort of going to the game tonight. I'm going to MC the rally protest. And he looked at me and he said, why don't you guys just get over it? And I'm telling you, I just about lost it on him. And I looked at him and I said, are you kidding me? In this day and age, you would say that. I said, if we put the outline of a person of color on a jersey and named that team the N-word, would that be okay? And he just looked at me like, what are you talking about? And I said, when you say get over it, you're telling us that we have to get over colonization. The fact that our ancestors were intentionally infected with diseases, that our ancestors were polluted and poisoned with alcohol, and then everything was stolen from them and taken advantage. That we have to get over all of those treaties and agreements that were really nothing that were going to be kept anyway. But the land was stolen and never given what was promised, and we're supposed to get over that. We're supposed to get over the lack of education and health care for our ancestors. And we're supposed to get over all those missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls and boys and men. And he just looked at me and went, wow, I had no idea. And that's the problem. People have no idea. And this is why it's so important that we make sure that this mascot, that this team changes not only its name, not only its mascot picture, but changes its attitude and helps the rest of the United States change its attitude as well. And so with that, I am going to introduce, I kind of went on a rant and rave there, everybody's getting me going. I'm going to next introduce our SMSC Treasurer and Secretary, Rebecca Crooks-Stratton. Rebecca Crooks-Stratton is the Secretary-Treasurer of the Shakopee Mindwakan Sioux community. Rebecca has served the Native community in many capacities and is currently spearheading Shakopee's Understanding Native Minnesota campaign. Please welcome Rebecca Crooks-Stratton.
Ha matakiapi, hahana zikata winmie, chante washte, unnape, chiuzapiye, wasichuiye, Rebecca Crooks-Stratton, amakiapiye, shakpe, bede wakantua, ma Dakota, Donya, Yahipi, Iyokpi, Uyampi. I'd like to apologize to all my elders and my Dakota speakers because I'm just learning, so please forgive me if I don't get it right. Welcome, all my relatives. It's great to see you here. As I looked out over the march today and looked out over the crowd right now, I'm humbled to see so many faces. I see Native advocates and allies, youth and elders, people of many different backgrounds, all here today to stand up for what is right, to stand up for respect for Native peoples. I'm particularly glad to see so many young people here at this rally and other rallies like it. Across the country, I'm inspired by our young leaders who are bringing attention to important issues in Indian country. Not only are they raising awareness, but they're finding solutions and making progress in our communities and across the country. We are here today to stand up for our young people, to honor our elders and ancestors by showing up to say, we are still here. For too long, the narrative about Native Americans in the media, in stories, in entertainment, has been incorrect. For generations, Native youth have been subject to these gross mischaracterizations. Today, we come together to say enough. We as Native people have rich communities and cultures, diverse and separate governments, and modern stories to tell. We also have a long and storied history that continues past the 1900s and is enriched every day by the significant contributions we make to today's society. Contrary to what most people have been taught in school, it's important that we change this incorrect narrative and claim our visibility in today's modern conversation. The SMSC recognizes this need and in response recently launched a $5 million 3-year philanthropic campaign called Understand Native Minnesota. This initiative will share accurate, updated information about Minnesota's tribes, their history, their governance, and their culture in our K-12 education systems. By sharing our unique experience and cultures, younger generations will have an updated, more nuanced understanding of our tribe and our Native people. It is my hope that with increased knowledge and greater visibility for Native Americans, one day we will not have to stand here and march and rally and stand up for respect for Native peoples. Thank you all for being here today.
Our next speaker, Chief Executive Melanie Benjamin, has served the Black Band of Ojibwe for almost 20 years. She is the leader of the Native American community, championing
Again, thanks for joining us.
Many initiatives.
We are going to move over here. Check this out. There's going to be a bunch more speakers. Again, if you're just joining us, this is a Not Your Mascot march and rally. We already went on the march, so you're just joining when the rally is going. You can see there's a lot of speakers waiting. I'm going to give you a view of the whole rally here.
2019 rally that we're having here. And I sit on a number of boards where they've also helped us do some really good things for the Native community in the state of Minnesota. Please welcome Melanie Benjamin.
All right. I was just going to go down. I don't know if you all want to talk about this, or I'm going to go. It's going to be like, no, it's like 5 minutes. I'm going to get this view.
Like, try to greeting awesome stuff. I'm gonna swear today.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we're live. This is all live. Yeah. Someone knows. You can't. It's just live. But is there, what else is going on?
They're about to do. It's gonna be a powwow flash mob in maybe 10 minutes or so. Hopefully, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, cool. Okay, let's stick around. Let's go. All right, we're sticking around. I lied. I was thinking about going down. There's another event I'm going to try to make, but we'll give it a little bit.
Thank you. We need you in this struggle. Because
So I'm going to move off this side, give you some information on what's going on. Now I'll go back in. Again, I am Lorenzo, your host. We're here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. You can look over here at the U.S. Bank Stadium. Inside, there's going to be a football match, National Football League. The Minnesota Vikings versus the Washington D.C. team. Washington D.C., right? Everyone got that? The name of which is the Redskins. Folks here are saying that is a derogatory term. The history of the term also is saying it's a derogatory term. Its whereabouts also saying that. And people are saying they got to change the name. We went on a march, and now we're listening to just local state leaders, tribal leaders. The mayor was speaking here, right outside U.S. Bank Stadium. But just want to let you know, again, we're going to stay live for probably 20, 30 more minutes, I think. Thanks so much. I think we've been live for over 2 hours now, just about 2 hours, yeah. So, again, that's only possible with your support. So if you do want to support this sort of content, please go to unicornriot.ninja. Click on Keep Unicorn Riot Growing in 2020. That's right. So we're going to be around 2020. We plan to cover the RNC and DNC. We are going to need monetary support to do that, to bring you live feeds like this from on the ground of what's going on around that stuff. So we're trying to build that base right now. We're trying to get about 2,000 donors, asking about $5 a month. If we do that, we can kind of maintain where we're at right now as we plan to continue to expand the platform to bring you more live frontline coverage. So you can go check that out. It's probably pasted on top of Facebook and Twitter and maybe YouTube. And also, if you don't have any monetary support, just share that link out. That's the only way anybody sees this stuff is people are sharing and liking it. Make sure you follow us on our pages on Unicorn Riot on Facebook, and also on Twitter, YouTube. Live stream Periscopes out there. We got Instagram, Unicorn Riot. Check it out. UnicornRiot.ninja is the website. And yeah, go ahead and sign up for that recurring donor level, $5 a month. I think you got 2 stickers, a magnet, and a thank you card signed. Probably by me, just so you know. But yeah, so go ahead and sign up. If you sign up for any more than $5 a month, super awesome, great. Thank you so much. I know we have people who have signed on Patreon at $100 level a month, which is wow. Thank you so much for that support. A few people have signed up at 50, 25. Every level above $5 gets those gifts, and our just constant thank you. Again, none of this would be possible without funding of some sort. A lot of our funding comes from users like viewers like you, people out there following us on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. And you make sure that we keep this just ad free. If you've been watching right now, it's been uninterrupted as long as the signal's staying good. There's no ads, there's no paywall. We provide all this as Creative Commons non-commercial to the internet. This information for you to be able to see for yourself. Again, we are a 501c3 educational nonprofit. If you want to give a bigger amount of money, you want to get a giant tax break or whatever, and just drop it in unicornriot.ninja. You can click that where we can put a single donation. So anyways, whatever works. We take crypto. It's great. Right now we're in conversations to try to set a team. This teacher strike in Chicago. I probably shouldn't mention that. We're trying to figure out how to make that happen. So again, all that support goes to that. So again, we're going to stay live here. Not Your Mascot, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Ongoing rally and march. Just give you a look at it here. Again, thanks for
all of you that are watching. Watch this. And now what we'd like to do is a category of dance. How about you pass the show dancers? Get the fancy show out there. Two starts. Jingle dress standby. Relatives, a round of applause. Put your hands together for our fancy show dancers. Jingle dress. On the jump. Equate. On the motor. How many grass dancers here? Stand by. Jingle dress dancer, friends and relatives. And now, grass dancers. Is there any grass dancers here? Got one. Grass dancers. How about men's traditional? All right. Women traditional. Come on in also. There's just a few of our dancers here. All right. Good night. I believe this will be our last presentation here. We have one traditional. We have a dog muscle grass dancing style of dance. We also have another part called the men's fancy muscle fancy feather dancers. That's also another part of a gift from our southern relatives. How about all our traditional dancers? Right now, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the most beautiful place in the world, and we are going to round dance midnight. But before we do that, hold up. I'd like to introduce a man himself. His name is Mr. Grosso, David Grosso from Washington, D.C. And man, does he have a story to share with us.
Yeah, David will be speaker after the round dance.
Oh, let's everybody together, multiculturalism for our children and the generations to come. The never-ending circle of life of all our cultures, multicultural. Right here. Everybody come on in. Everybody come on in.
We
have about 7 more speakers before this round dance, after this round dance. So, those of you, hang in there. Just heard about it. I don't think they're doing anymore. No more 49. Come on in, round us 2 rows if you can. Wachipo. Aloha Wachipo. fall as we ask you to gather over once again back to the banner that says we honor our women and children, our leaders of tomorrow. No honor in racism or imagery.
All right, everybody, this is Lorenzo with Unicorn Riot. We are still here outside of US Bank Stadium. This is October 24th, 2019. Hold on, so there's one more speaker. 1 second here. But anyways, yeah, so if you've been following along, we are here at Not Your Mascot protest and rally. Started out with a march, headed to here, where we're at right now, marched all the way here. You can go back in the footage. You see a few interviews we did with folks who were in the march, why they were there. Again, if you don't know, this is against the Washington logo and branding. Washington, the football team, who is playing the Vikings today here in Minnesota. Here again in Minnesota.
A newly elected gentleman, Michael Fairbanks, newly elected.
1 second here. I want to hear what this person is saying. Again, like, you're watching this Unicorn Riot. We're just kind of walking through the crowd now.
My brother's sitting there doing it. I would have helped my brother.
Give me 1 second again. Just kind of stepping back a bit. Just had this really long rally, a lot of speakers. Sorry to see where everything's at right now. Again, you're watching this on UnicornRiot.ninja. We are live here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, for this Not Your Mascot rally. I'll show you this little placard here. Yeah.
Change the name. What do we want? Change the name. Yeah, right
on. So I'm just walking around.
All right, next we have the Lower Sioux President, Robert Larson. Robert Deuce Larson, as most folks know him, was the chairman of the Lower Sioux community, and he also serves as chairman of the Minnesota Indian.
I'm just walking around. I'm sorry, I don't. All right, I think I am going to go down. That's what's happening. I'm moving away, thinking about it.
Say hello, my relatives. My Dakota name is loosely translated to Rolling Bull. I come from the Chanshayapi area.
I guess this guy came.
It's a place that most people know as Lower Sioux. It's a couple hours west of here. But first I just want to say, I think it's ridiculous that we have to come together in this day and age for something like this. I mean, this team was named in the 1930s. It's 2019. Everybody said everything that everyone said ahead of me. I echo it. But I just want to share this this post from the Winona newspaper from 1863. It was from the Daily Republican. It says, the state reward for dead Indians is $200 for every redskin sent to purgatory. This sum is more than the dead bodies of all the Indians east of the Red River are worth. That's what this represents. I mean, so people say, what's the big deal? Well, let me ask you, what is racism to you? To me, it's prejudice and power. It's a system that was created for division based on differences, to keep somebody down. We know it's not a legal issue. The Supreme Court told us that in 2017, but it's a moral issue. It's time to do what's right, what's good and honorable. They say that this is named to honor us. Well, if it is, then Mr. Snyder, how many of the 11 tribal nations in this state have you come to visit while you're here playing? Have you gone to the historic Fort Snelling at Vidote to see the concentration camp? Have you gone to Mankato to see the site of the largest mass execution in the United States history? That happened to our people. 38 men were hung. We were talking this morning, my little 2-year-old niece here, I put this clothes on and she said, "Why does Uncle Deuce have that on?" Try to explain that to a 2-year-old. But that's kind of what we have to do. We have to educate. That's what this is for, to me. That's what this is for. We can get angry. We are angry about it. But we have to educate more than just us. It's not you that are here, but everybody needs to take that message out. Understand why this doesn't feel right for us, why this is a racial slur. Words are powerful, and they matter. Logos matter. There was a study done that shows by the age of 3, children can recognize over 100 logos, but yet they don't know their culture. This is what we are tasked with. We spend dollars upon dollars trying to educate our own people and the communities around us. So I'm glad to see you here.
All right, everybody. This is Lorenzo, your host. We're still here outside of US Bank Stadium for this Not Your Mascot rally and march. I am going to wind it down here. I'm going to try to do a little bit of recap, and then we're going to take this feed down. I want to say thank you to all of our donors right up front for making this feed possible. If you don't want to join that community of supporters, go to unicornriot.ninja. And there's a big banner. It might be actually posted on Twitter and Facebook of our current fundraiser. Go ahead and sign up for that. There's still a lot of speakers left, but I need to actually probably eat because it's been a while. And there's also another event I want to try to get to. So let's keep following Unicorn Riot. If you like this sort of content on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and the live stream. Yeah, I think I'm going to go down. You can see people are going into the football game now. Again, we're here in Minnesota. Yeah, geez, I don't even know what to say. We started, we've been live now for, almost 2.5 hours. And, as we said, people are trying to change the narrative in this country about, what had happened, what's kind of acceptable. People don't want this logo anymore. If you look again on our website, unicornriot.ninja, there's like a good post talking about, some information talking about how logos like this make it hard for people to be Native Americans in the United States because it replaces their identity into stereotypes. And so people's understanding of Native Americans in the United States is usually through stereotypes that have been handed down through just a whole bunch of crap, including the public education system. People are pointing this logo of this football team alongside that, saying that if they get rid of this logo, it'll allow more space for Indigenous people to be able to voice themselves and show the world what they want. And we don't know exactly how long this will go on, but that's what's going on here. Again, I'm Lorenzo, your host. Not your mascot. Hashtag not your mascot. You can see that ongoing movement to rebrand all these sports teams into not offensive to Native American logos and wording, language, and branding. Anyways, again, we are a 501c3 nonprofit. Please hit like, share, follow us, get alerted. You can sign up for a newsletter. And again, if you do want to support us, check out our current fundraiser. And also, if you want to just join us on Patreon, we have that way too. Right now, for anybody who signs up for $5 and above, you will get a couple gifts, just a bunch of thank yous, and also people who have been already supporting us, recurring donors. Thank you. You'll get those gifts going to you as well. We'll be sending them out. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and take this down. Thanks for joining us, and keep following unicornriot.ninja for updates. Thanks a lot for being here. It was great.
He loves sports, and whenever we see or hear the Washington football team logo, we talk about it. And he's confused by it, and what he's confused by is